Greek fire setting enemies ablaze, Varangian Guards berserking into the fray, and Cataphracts devastating the front lines. Welcome to Age of Noob everyone, and to this exclusive preview of all new Byzantine unique units in Age of Empires 4. Starting off with the barracks, the Limitanei replaces the spearmen, and the Varangian Guards replace the man-at-arms. The Limitanei cost 20 more food, but 10 less wood. They have slightly higher HP and a significantly higher base attack and bonus damage versus cavalry. On top of that, they have this super cool shield wall ability, in which they enter a defensive, shield-up stance that reduces their movement and attack speed by 25%, but also reduces incoming ranged attack damage by half. The best part is that they can still move and push forward, so they are significantly stronger than your typical spearmen. And finally, they also get increased movement speed from the unique teardrop shield technology. The Varangian Guards are also very comparable to the man-at-arm line, but they have slightly higher attack and armor. They do cost 10 more resources overall, but they also have two abilities that make them special. The first is the berserking ability that lowers both their armor by 4 while increasing their damage by 6, and they move much faster when ferocious speed is researched. Hence, they can be used for a shock attack to deal high damage quickly. The second is that they can build transport ships on their own, which is a great nod to their heritage from the north. Also, they do get 15% faster attack speed from the same teardrop shield technology, which makes them even stronger. The archer range for the Byzantines is as generic as it gets. They get the typical archers, crossbows, and hand cannoneers, but there is no special bonus, unique technology, or an otherwise additional advantage of any sort. In other words, your ranged units will still be important to support your powerful infantry and cavalry, but you will lose against many civilizations with superior archer units in a pure ranged versus ranged engagement. In the stable, the only unique unit the Byzantines boast are the Cataphracts. When fully upgraded, they have an insane 510 HP and 9 melee and ranged armor, so they are very tanky. On top of their sturdiness, they have a unique trample ability. When activated, they charge 3 enemy units, dealing 10 damage to each one. Moreover, the unique technology of Numeri further weakens trampled enemy units, as they will receive 20% increased damage for 12 seconds. And finally, they have a flask ability that allows them to self-heal, which comes from a landmark that I will cover later on. Do keep in mind that all of this comes at a cost, as they are 90 resources more expensive than your typical knight. The Byzantines also get the typical scouts and horsemen, but they do have a slight twist. Scouts have the Trebuchets' unique technology in the feudal age, which provides an aura that increases torch damage of nearby units by 25%. The horsemen also get a pretty interesting unique technology, and that's the Exploitors. This super cheap technology increases horseman damage against villagers by +2, and, more importantly, rewards you with 20 gold for every enemy villager killed by them. Paying off this technology only takes 4 villager snipes, and this will provide a nice trickle of gold in the mid to late game as well. Also, if you are enjoying my coverage of the DLC so far, please consider subscribing to Age of Noob to help support me further. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the Siege Workshop. Although their trebuchets aren't inherently unique, their Greek fire technology allows their projectiles to set their target area ablaze. As mentioned in my previous video, the fire on the ground is more of a deterrent than a high damage dealer, as you cannot stack fire effects on the same location, so keep that in mind. The actual unique siege unit the Byzantines have are the Cheirosiphons. They replace the battering ram, and they set buildings on fire instead of ramming them down. Units cost in this fire also burn slowly, so this is very useful against units trying to defend a town center or a keep. This is because they are forced to deal with the Cheirosiphons and have to fight in the burned area, as opposed to simply avoiding the flames when hurled by a trebuchet. That said, this ability comes at a cost. The Cheirosiphons cost 250 wood and 100 gold, as opposed to the rams only 250 wood, and the rams have more HP and ranged armor as well. The rest of the units are your typical Springles, Mangonels, and Bombards, and none of them have any special bonuses or unique upgrades. That said, this was only referring to the Siege Workshop, as I will circle back on additional siege units later in the video. The Monastery of the Byzantines is also generic. You get your usual monk and typical upgrades. It's a shame that the Byzantines didn't get something unique religiously in AoE4, given their important historical context in Orthodox Christianity. And finally, the Byzantines also get a unique ship, and those are the Dromons. Continuing with the theme of Greek fire, Dromons can set a body of water ablaze and will continue to do so until it is ordered to stop. When stopped, the flame burns a little while longer before it goes out after about 5 seconds. Dromons will be fantastic in controlling tight passages that will affect your opponent's ability to sail through. However, again, this is a niche use case scenario and you will need your other standard ships for water control. As a final note about them, they also can be upgraded with the heavy Dromon's technology, which reduces the cooldown for the man the sail's ability, as well as allow them to leave Greek fire on the surface, which might come in handy in rivers and crossings especially. Furthermore, their demolition ships also have a unique technology called liquid explosives, which allows them to deal full damage within their blast radius. Apart from that, they get the typical galleys and carracks with nothing special about them. Before we wrap up, there's also one final important mechanic that the Byzantines have access to, and those are the mercenaries. I will cover how the whole system works with olive oil in the detailed Byzantine Civ review later on, so let's just focus on the units available for the time being. To quickly go over the mechanic, there are 3 ways to produce mercenary units. The first is through the Mercenary House building that you can construct Feudal Age onward, the second is through the Golden Horn Tower landmark in the Castle Age, and the third is through the Foreign Engineering Company landmark in the Imperial Age. Let's begin with the Mercenary House first. The Mercenary House allows you to pick one of 3 contracts: the Eastern Mercenary Contract, the Western Mercenary Contract, and the Silk Road Mercenary Contract. You have to be careful with your choice as you cannot go back to pick another contract. Also, keep in mind that only olive oil can be used to hire these units, as no other resource can be used. That being said, you can still use the market to buy and sell olive oil just like you can with other resources, so feel free to buy some olive oil in a pinch if you need to purchase a group of mercenaries right away. Once you do pick a contract, you can then upgrade them to veteran and elite contracts in the Castle and Imperial Ages respectively. These 2 technologies not only upgrade existing units, but also unlocks an additional one for you. Let's go through each contract to be less abstract. The Eastern Mercenary Contract allows you to train Keshiks in the Feudal Age, veteran Keshiks and Ghulams once upgraded to veteran, and elite Keshiks, elite Ghulams, and Tower Elephants once upgraded to elite. The Western Mercenary Contract allows you to train longbows in the Feudal Age, veteran longbows and Landsknechts once upgraded to veteran, and elite longbows, elite Landsknechts, and Streletsy once upgraded to elite. And finally, the Silk Road Mercenary Contract allows you to train javelin throwers in the Feudal Age, veteran javelins and camel riders once upgraded to veteran, and elite javelins, elite camel riders, and grenadiers once upgraded to elite. But wait, there's more. The Mercenary House mechanic doesn't end here. As you know, there are neutral trade posts that you can trade with across the map. The Byzantines have an additional mechanic here in which mercenary houses built around said trade posts increases the production speed of mercenary units by 50%. And, get this, also unlocks an additional set of unique units. These additional units can be any combination of 2 from the following list: Abbasid Camel Archers, Malian Musafari Warriors, Ayyubid Desert Raiders, Mongol Mangudais, Rus Horse Archers, French Royal Knights, Chinese Jukunus, French Arbaletiers, Ottoman Sipahis, and Delhi War Elephants. Each trade post on the map will have a different set of 2 units, and, as far as I can tell, the availability of the units are based on RNG. Hence, be sure to scout all trade posts as the Byzantines to see which units are available in which trade post, as you just might need the perfect counter unit that you can train only through a particular trade post. Apart from the Mercenary House, the Golden Horn Tower landmark periodically produces mercenary units for free for whichever contract you purchased, and its production speed increases based on your cistern influence and water level. The Foreign Engineering Company in the Imperial Age, on the other hand, is more straightforward, as it allows you to train the Mongol Hui Hui Pao, the Chinese Nest of Bees, and the French Royal Cannon using olive oil. Do keep in mind that these units also come with their respective unique upgrades as well. When you think about it, the Byzantines theoretically have access to the most unique units in the entire game, and it's part of the reason why they will be very difficult to maximize their true potential. Well, that wraps up my summary of all military units for the Byzantines in Age of Empires 4, and come back tomorrow for the summary of the Japanese units next. Many thanks to our YouTube members for their continued support, and please consider joining as a member as well if you'd like to support me further. Thank you. As always, thanks for watching everyone. Let me know what you think of the new Byzantine units so far, and until next time, Apocheritismos.